My greatest achievement, I believe, would be applying for and getting hired with Wisconsin State Patrol. That was a dream that I had for a long time. That's where I wanted to be in law enforcement. I worked hard to get to that job. I went through their 22-week academy, which is one of the toughest in the nation, and I'm proud of that accomplishment.
I believe certainly 19 years as sheriff, that was a great achievement for me to stay that long, and even to keep my mental capacity at the same time. My family is a great achievement for me. I have three priorities. My wife and I have three priorities: God, family, country, and in that order. And I believe that my family and the way they live and the way they've turned out, and my grandchildren, I believe that is our greatest achievement.
My greatest achievement would be my family. I'm very proud of my children, my wife, work-related. Just like to complete my time in law enforcement without getting injured or hurt, and being able to help people and educate people.
I believe my greatest achievement is in my current position as the Chief of Police in Webb Lake, when I was able to keep the township together in a time when we had financial crisis. 3 years ago, not only was I able to keep it together, but I was able to go to the neighboring township, which is Jackson Township, and bring them on board, and to be able to work with 3 separate townships, meeting the needs of all 3 individual townships, while continuing to keep the cost the same for 3 straight years.
How much administration experience have you had?
How much administration what? Experience?
Experience, yeah.
Well, obviously the last 19 years. Prior to that, I worked for the school district of Shell Lake for 11 years. In my last 9 years, I worked as a maintenance supervisor for the grounds and the custodians and keeping the schools up and all the stuff that a maintenance supervisor does. And prior to that, shortly after high school, right out of high school, I worked for one of the biggest companies in the world, Motorola, in Franklin Park, Illinois. And as a young man, I was on when they actually had television tubes, you know, with the little tubes and everything in the television tube plant. I was the lead man. They picked me as an 18-year-old kid on this lead plant. And here are these gentlemen, 40, 50 people that were working for me as a young fellow out of school. And so apparently I had the skills, or at least I showed them the skills and the motivation needed that they wanted. And the school felt the same way. I was 2 years there, and then they promoted me to the maintenance supervisor. They felt I had the leadership qualities and the skills and the organizational skills to get that done. So I've had extensive experience in leadership.
Currently, I've never held a position in management, but what I do offer is, you know, as a police officer, you know what, management's not set beside us. We go and take care of our job and go do it. I got education and heart to go forward and do this job. That's how I feel about it. It's not always about how great a leader you were. If you got heart and can motivate people, you can do a lot.
I feel my administrative experience started with financial stability, bringing financial stability to the department. I think that working with, like I said earlier, 3 separate township boards, being able to work with the first responder group, being able to work with 3 different fire departments, being able to work on grant writing to bring the departments into financial stability. When I took over the department, we were making payments on vehicles. We no longer make payments. We have money tucked away so we can buy vehicles with cash up front. We plan ahead for things that we need. We have a long-range planning that goes out 5 years into the future. That's what you do in order to run an efficient department. I think ethics and accountability is the most important thing that we brought to the table, and that was probably be able to sit down with these people and explain why we're doing things and be able to communicate with them as to why we're going to do it, what we're going to do, and once again have that long-range plan.
Currently, I've not had any management experience either. However, I've had 12 and a half years of experience in law enforcement, and half the battle there is knowing the job and knowing what the problems are, what the issues are, talking to the officers, and working with them to iron out those problems. As far as money, it's a big budget, but they don't give the sheriff a $3 million account that he can do anything he wants with. That's all that money is put into certain places. There's committees that oversee that money. There are people there's checks and balances with the money part of it. And I believe that I have the ability to lead the officers given the chance.
Just to conceal and carry, give us your information on what you think about that and how you would act upon that if you become sheriff.
If I became sheriff, like I said before, I'm for the concealed carry. As sheriff, if the state passes the concealed carry, yeah, I'm for it. We're willing to get the deputies trained, all the education possible, to go instruct the people of this county on how to carry a concealed weapon, and make sure they keep up on their qualifications with that gun. I think if people are out carrying concealed weapons, they should have to hold somewhat of the same standards as law enforcement. Let people carry if they can apply that and keep up their standards. I'm all for it.
As I stated earlier, I have no problem with the concealed carry. I think that we need to, as the sheriff said earlier, we need to keep an eye on the laws that do go into effect. As I said, where I came from, the sheriff would do a background check on that party. The sheriff had the final decision whether or not that permit was issued, due to the fact that he has most of the information on the party that would be applying. I have no problem as long as the people are qualifying with a qualified instructor through a qualified range and they get their background packet done and pass the background. I would have no problem with that. I would hope that the state would have some type of guidance in what type of a background would be done so that we don't have people jumping lines going from one county to the next because a certain sheriff doesn't want to honor their request and go to a different county and declare residency at a cabin. I think that's the only thing I would be concerned about.
I think it's a bigger issue. It's not as big an issue as everybody's making it out to be. It's like a lot of things. It's new. Once we've passed it, it's gonna fizzle out, and people aren't gonna think about it. Most people aren't gonna. They're not gonna. You know, it's something new. No, I want to carry a gun. It's gonna go away. As long as you have guidelines on how to apply for a permit, a driver's license. We've got to get a test every 8 years. I think there should be a background done every 8 years. I think they need to, I guess, look at the requirements. Have some strict requirements, but you don't hear about other states having problems with the carried and concealed weapons. And as I think the others have mentioned, if a criminal is going to carry a weapon, they're going to carry one whether it's legal or not.
I have not supported the bills that were before the legislation in the last several years. And until the bill is addressed and addresses the issues that I think that you would want me to present on your behalf to the legislatures about your safety and protection, I will not support the bill. The bill has to be written by qualified people who understand what firearms are all about. Firearms kill people. That's all they're intended to do if you're carrying it around and packing it around with you. For your protection, yes. But I can sit here and tell you and give you the horror stories of what's happened with firearms and how long it takes you to get the gun out when you are in a volatile situation, how your emotions will drive what you do. And we can talk about all those kind of things. And if you're an unstable person, then that even makes it worse. It is a very, very heavy responsibility to pack around a firearm. And you need to be trained properly. I think everybody here has mentioned that. I don't think anybody here will argue with the fact that we will see concealed carry someday, but we need to formulate the bill that's going to protect the public. But I will not support something that I believe is going to hurt you and my constituents.